Are you as confident as me in saying that this Dodgers bullpen, even with the injuries they are currently dealing with, this current Dodgers bullpen is elite, is arguably one of the best bullpens we've seen this team have in a couple decades? I talked about that in a recent edition of the All Dodgers live stream. If you missed it, we do those Mondays and Thursdays. Subscribe, join the chat sometime. But I went on a riff. I went on a monologue. I wanted to point out a lot of the pieces in this bullpen. They're very good. They are they're better than what we've seen of recent vintage. I have confidence in this bullpen, and that's something I cannot say I've had in recent years. And if October was to start today, even without Joe Kelly, even without a Ryan Brazier, even without Brusdar Graterol, I actually feel pretty dang confident about what this bullpen can do. So before I play the excerpt from the recent live stream, I got to tell you, I got to do a little housekeeping. I got to tell you about Bet Online. It's your number one source for the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals. That's what's going on right now in the sports season. Every stat, every matchup, even live odds when the games are being played. When the game's over, you can head on over to their online casino, get in on a game of blackjack, poker, unwind with one of the over 150 slot games they have. Bet Online. Head to the website today. Get in on the action. Do not forget to use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online. The game starts here. And now my riff, my monologue about the bullpen starts here. Then I'll come back and we'll kind of talk it out a little bit more, and then we'll wrap it up. But here we go. Let's shift gears drastically. Perhaps. The question I have at the moment here is, it's not even a question. It's more of a setup to this whole entire conversation. I wonder if we can label this Dodgers bullpen as it stands elite. Give it the elite label in air quotes there, because the long-term bullpen outlook this season in particular, it's pretty good. I really like this bullpen. And I think there's no reason for them to really need to add anybody. I mentioned earlier in the show, mentioned also on Dodgers territory, I don't think this team needs to necessarily add anybody, especially not somebody like a Kenley Jansen. We're done. Don't get back together with your ex. There's no reason for Kenley Jansen. Just leave it on that high note. It was a positive season, his last one here in LA. I'm fine. Let him go keep thriving in Boston. But the current Dodgers bullpen, I don't think they need to add very much. And when healthy, which we're seeing right now, getting very, very close to being completely healthy, it is a badass back end of the bullpen. And this is, I kind of wanted to talk about it. And then I was also slightly inspired by Mike DiGiovanna of the LA Times, who put out an article about, talking about Evan Phillips and how for one fine day, I think it was the Saturday game at Dodger Stadium, we had that glorious end of the bullpen, Dan Hudson, Blake Treinen, Evan Phillips, which is the bridge to a 6-inning ball game and a 6-inning win for this team. But when you're looking at these guys, that bottom four really of this Dodgers bullpen, when you're talking about postseason play, when we're getting into October, they rely on 3, 4, 5 guys, and it's usually the other guys that have kind of screwed this team or will screw teams over in the past, but it really screwed this team in recent years, not having guys you could really, really strongly trust. In 20, they had a pretty good bullpen, sans Kenley Jansen, who lost his job, but Blake Treinen was phenomenal in 2020. He was and very, very serviceable, very good. ERA wasn't pretty, but he gave up runs in one game. But he was somebody that was massively important. Dylan Floro proved to be massively important to this team as well in that postseason. They found ways to kind of make some things happen, and also rode Julio Urias pretty strongly out of the bullpen because the bullpen was not great. 17 bullpen, not very great beyond Kenley Jansen, Brandon Morrow, but it was a bunch of just names, a bunch of random names. Right now, I am of the opinion, I'm going to sit here right now on this Monday and tell you that this bullpen has star power, even though there aren't really all-stars in there. Evan Phillips, Blake Treinen, both of those guys have been just lights out this year. Of course, Phillips just coming back from missing the better part of a month with a hamstring injury. But we know how good he's been over the last few years. Blake Treinen has been just disgusting. He's been arguably the best reliever in the bullpen since returning from injury. Daniel Hudson turning back the clock a little bit. He took the last 2 years off rehabbing some knee injuries, so he's looking healthy. He's looking froggy. He looks like he wants to maybe go out there and win one more World Series, chuck that glove over to the seats, maybe not like Jorge Lopez style, but Danny Hudson having some fun in there. And I would be remiss if I did not bring up Alex frickin' Vesia, who, like I said last week, when we were talking about our Monday, or not our Monday, our month 2, grades and surprises in the Alex Vesia case, is like he turned a believer into me. He was the guy who got the most crap of anybody on this Dodgers roster after all the big moves. He got the most crap from people like me, talking heads on the internet, talking heads who the people who pay attention the most to this team. It's like all these stars, they went and spent, committed, all this money to all of these players. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, Teoscar Hernandez, Tyler Glasnow, but they still had little Alex Vesia in there. See Michael Carrillo, Mikey talking about Vesia's FIP not being all that great. It's getting better. It's hard to find a reliever that has a really exceptional FIP. And as long as he's getting the job done when it comes to run prevention, that's what the game is supposed to be about. And use the quality of the defense behind you wherever you stand on Mookie Betts as a shortstop. But he's been good. Alex Vesia has been very good. The punch has been up, mitigating the walks. He's looking good. He's looking like he's got the confidence back. He's got the swagger. You're seeing him now kind of learn how to work with that pitch clock. He's got the strut, and that's when Alex Vesia is on. So those 4 guys. Those are going to be the 4 guys that, when healthy, this team will 100% ride all the way through the postseason. But there's going to be more important pieces needed than that, and there are a couple of guys that are getting closer to returning. It's still weeks away, according to Dave Roberts, but you do have Joe Kelly, who would add to that mix. Ryan Brazier, who I was pretty low on earlier this season just because he didn't look good, but he's somebody who is a been there, done that kind of guy. So maybe Brazier is another one of those options at the end of the bullpen. But these are guys that aren't there right now. And this bullpen's still been very, very good. Shout out Anthony Banda, however you want to say it. What happens with that guy when other guys get healthy? Because so far, very small sample size, but kind of been nails. 6 scoreless appearances with the Dodgers. Another scrap heap dude, the Andrew Friedman special. Looking very good, looking very helpful. I don't know where this team would have been in the month of May without him because of all those other little injuries, but he's been a very, very nice fill-in, and at this point, somebody who's earned a longer leash, in my opinion. Michael Grove, for as much crap as I've also given him as a, I'll call myself a personality talking head here on the internet. Grove's been a weapon for this team, and you can't deny that. You cannot at all. And he's better than his numbers show. The ERA is not very pretty, but what I like out of a reliever, this is just me, maybe this is my opinion, knowing that somebody like Michael Grove is not a guy they have in the 9th inning. They don't necessarily want him in the 8th inning. If this is a 5th, 6th, 7th inning guy, maybe it's a 3rd inning guy if a starter didn't go deep into a game. With Michael Grove, scoreless in 16 of his last 19 appearances. He's only allowed runs in 3 of his last 19 appearances, which is what you want. Some days they're not going to have it. Not every reliever, every pitcher's not going to have it every single day. And more often than not, Grover has had it. And another thing I like, he's kind of been the anti-Pedro Baez, I'm going to call him, because he's only allowed 2 of 7 inherited runners to score. So when it comes to the game of baseball, run prevention, not allowing the other team to score points to win the ball game, those guys have been good. Those 5 guys there, if we're talking about 6 guys, if we're talking about Banda, if we're talking about Grove, and if we're talking about the other top 4, they're very good. Roy Estrada says, I'm still on the fence with Grove, and I get it. I don't think Michael Grove will be somebody that's in the bullpen come October. I think he's probably more of a taxi squad guy. But the fact that that's an option, that would not be an option for this Dodgers team any other year. I mean, even 2 years ago when the Padres beat the Dodgers in the NLDS, it was, them relying on Alex Vesia, who was still young. He was still very green. I blocked the other guy's name out of my mind at this point, the right-hander. But anyways, this is a good bullpen. I like it. Bruce Dark Gratterall, and I'm seeing I do have a couple super chats I'm going to get to. I'm going to keep monologuing and riffing, and then I will get to the super chats. I thank you guys so much for those, but I got to talk about Bruce Dark Gratterall because the updates on him, not good. They continue to be not good. The latest, not throwing a baseball, quote, a couple months away. Just put out the tweet. Send the tweet, Dodgers. Like, we're waiting on it. We are within a few weeks of seeing the Bruce Dark Gratterall underwent successful surgery. Whatever it is, shoulder, elbow, whatever it is, he's gone. Like I don't look at Bruce Dark Gratterall as an option for this team anymore. But beyond that, like, they already have all those other dudes. You got a couple of guys coming back. You also look at somebody like JP Fireeisen. The numbers still shit. They're still bad. He's still trying to work away the issues. The runs he allowed in his first two outings. The really bad first couple of outings. But he's been pretty serviceable at the big league level since when he has gotten options, gotten some opportunities. So if he's somebody who is that eighth guy in the bullpen, that ninth guy in the bullpen right now, I'm okay with that. Ryan Yarbrough has been phenomenal. Nick Ramirez, when he's come up and got some options, some opportunities, he's been pretty serviceable, realizing or keeping in mind he's not your closer, he's not your setup guy, he's just there, he's getting some work in. So again, very, very good bullpen. In my opinion, one of the better bullpens we've seen in terms of quality, the quality of arms and depth 1 through 8 and beyond. One of the best bullpens we've seen in a very long time. And in my old man opinion, an old man just being 20 years of reference here that I'm going to pull to, this harkens back to me of the Eric Gagne, Guillermo Mota, and Paul Quantrill era, where those three guys were absolute nails. I think they were all on steroids out of their fucking gourds as well. But they were really, really, it was an electric, that was an elite bullpen that didn't really get a postseason opportunity. I think this team, I think these options are as good, if not better. Maybe not better. I'm not going to go better. But I think these guys, it's a lazy comp. That's what I'm going to go with. That's all I'm going to say. Mentioned Fireeisen, mentioned Nick Ramirez. Maybe there's a Kyle Hurt somewhere down the road. Maybe there's a Dustin May also in some sort of role. Bobby Miller can slide to the bullpen if needed when he does come back in a week or two. There's a lot of good options. There's a lot of good depth. And it makes me feel pretty damn confident about this particular bullpen. If everybody's healthy, all things swing the way we expect them to. Nobody's a Joe Blanton in this bullpen. There's no, as good as he was, there's no, who's the switch pitcher guy? We don't have that guy in there. There's no Pat Venditti's in here. It's good. This is a good bullpen. Maybe one more arm wouldn't hurt. I'm going to say once again that arm should not be Kenley Jansen. Sorry, Alana. But the talent is there in this bullpen, and the depth is there to withstand another mid-range injury. And also, in all fairness, they haven't been as great at the minor league level, but the next wave of some minor league dudes are, some guys you've never heard of, maybe some of you have never heard of, they're kind of knocking on the door there for a chance. So things are lining up. The stars are aligning for, hopefully, knock on desk, make a weird rattle into the mic. Hopefully the stars are aligning for a very fun, a very exciting October for this Dodgers team. But if they lose, they don't advance deep into the playoffs, right now where I'm sitting, I don't think it will be because of the bullpen, and I think they don't need to do a damn thing to try to improve it. I don't know that there are very many better options out there that will be available and kind of slide into a role in this bullpen. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this bullpen. I'll reiterate, you already listened to me riff about it for a while, but I'll reiterate. I feel very strongly about this bullpen. When we saw a year ago, it was Bruce Dark Gratterall, who obviously, I mean, he did have a very good season, but beyond that, it was Caleb Ferguson. It was a bad version of Alex Vesia. It was a Yency Almonte type. Before that, you had your Phil Bickfords, your Craig Kimbrells, your I'm saying Phil Bickford again because they gave him way too much leeway, too much leash in this bullpen. Victor Gonzalez, hell, let's go back a couple more years. Let's look at 2019 where there was a Yimi Garcia, there was a Pedro Baez, there was a Scott Alexander in there in 2018. Them relying on borrowed time with Brandon Morrow in 2017. Back even before that, Joe Blanton. Again, I'll mention Joe Blanton. There was a lot of hopes and dreams in those old bullpens. This one, I think it's real hope. I think it's legitimate hope. But maybe I'm just blowing smoke up my own ass on this. You guys tell me, am I way off about this? Should this front office explore a trade to bring in another reliever? Obviously, a lot of folks would love to see Mason Miller. What does a trade for that look like with the Oakland Athletics? Sound off in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online. Do use that promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV. Get that 50% bonus for first-time users. I'm Real FRG on the social media machines. Give us a subscribe. Another way, if you want to support the channel, support independent Dodgers and media and all that kind of stuff, coverage here on YouTube, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg. There's a couple of perks on there for different tiers, but mostly you're helping support the movement or something like that, and it's all for much less than the price of a Dodger dog, especially here in the year of our Lord 2024. But anyways, thank you for tubing in. Hope we earned a subscribe on the way out, and I'll see you on the next one.